For about 2 weeks last year, we were fairly certain that we were going to set up residency in Costa Rica.
We really like Costa Rica. We'd contacted relocation specialists there. We spent 2 weeks in the country, and I made a second trip that lasted another 2 weeks.
But we didn't do our residency there. We ended up here.
In this episode, we're going to share why we chose Panama. What made the difference? It wasn't the beaches, and it wasn't because Panama was the cheapest.
And we'll tell you what you don't see in the brochures, how much it costs to become residents of Panama.
Welcome to Postcards at Our Pace. I'm Greg.
And I'm Tammy.
And we're a retired couple who sold everything they had and are traveling the world full time with our little dog Brody, who is not crashed on the couch, but is actually chewing a bone today.
We seriously considered 4 places: Mexico, Portugal, Costa Rica, and Panama. And any of them could have worked for us.
And we didn't have to get foreign residency. We already have a country where we can live, and the U.S. has one of the most powerful passports for travelers.
But after spending our whole lives building careers, owning a house, and just living a pretty traditional American life, we didn't want retirement to be just more of the same with vacations.
We want to actually experience living in other parts of the world, not for a week or two, but for long enough for some place to start feeling normal.
And living outside the US also makes the kind of travel that we want to do more practical. Our everyday costs can be lower. We're closer to places that we want to explore, and we're not maintaining an expensive house back home while we're gone.
So this wasn't really about leaving the United States. It was about having the freedom to build a different kind of retirement.
And once we decided that we wanted to live abroad, not just vacation abroad, residency started to matter.
So then the question became, if we're going to establish residency somewhere, which country fit the way we actually wanted to live? What decided it for us? Mexico has a much higher income requirement. Costa Rica and Portugal wanted more of our time. Panama gave us a direct path to permanent residency without requiring us to spend a certain number of months here every year.
And that was the biggest difference. But 2 other things had to work too. We needed access to health care, and we needed to get home to our families quickly if they needed us.
We aren't really moving to Panama in the traditional sense. We're traveling the world from Panama. Many residency programs are designed for people who move somewhere and stay there. That isn't what we're doing.
Panama required much less income to qualify than what we expected. It only takes $1,000 a month in guaranteed lifetime income, plus $250 for each dependent. And to make it easier, Panama considers Social Security to be a lifetime pension.
We qualified on Tammy's Social Security alone, which legalizes that I'm officially your dependent.
Now, that $1,000 a month isn't what residency costs. That's just the income that you have to qualify.
The actual process wasn't free. Between our attorneys, government fees, background checks, apostilles and authentication, document fees, translations, and everything else, we spent about $2,000 for the 2 of us.
And some of those costs depend on your situation. So yours might be different, but that's what it cost us.
We'll put the breakdown on the screen so you can see where the money went. We started with the traditional options: Mexico, Portugal, Costa Rica, and Panama. Mexico was the easiest to get to, and we know people who are very happy there. But the consulates have a lot of discretion in how they interpret the requirements. When we looked at direct permanent residency, the financial requirement at the consulate we'd be using was several times what Panama required.
Mexico also offers temporary residency at a lower entry point. And then we could work our way up to a permanent residency over 4 years. But we weren't looking to settle down there, at least not right away. You also have to do an in-person interview at the consulate, which can take months to schedule.
And water came up too. Being able to drink out of the tap matters a lot more than you think when you're someplace for months at a time.
There are plenty of people who are happy in Mexico, and places like San Miguel de Allende, La Paz, and Lake Chapala, they all look like great places to live for
Yeah.
us. But the residency requirements just didn't fit our plans.
Portugal was also on our list. I love Europe, but they changed the tax laws for foreigners. And they made the change in 2024, which made it a lot more expensive to stay there long term.
More importantly, Portugal's residency is designed around people who are intending to live in Portugal. A residency program that requires spending a lot of time in one country just didn't really work for us.
Portugal also offers an investment visa, but we weren't ready to go there and buy property, which brings us back to Costa Rica. I went twice. We spent 2 weeks there before Father's Day in 2025, and then I went back in October.
We stayed at Avenida Escazú, which felt very North American, with big sidewalks, and restaurants, a theater, and a lot of retail shopping. But it was just a tiny enclave inside of Escazú in San Jose.
San Jose wasn't especially easy to walk around. Everything felt very spread out, and they didn't have a good public transportation system.
The beach communities were also more expensive than what we had hoped, and getting around without driving also wasn't as easy as what we had hoped. We still liked it, and we were still pretty serious about starting there.
But the residency wasn't quite as easy. Costa Rica starts you on a temporary residency track, and that lasts 3 years. You have to stay in the country at least 4 months per year. In contrast, Panama only requires you to step foot inside the country once every 2 years.
Costa Rica also requires contributing to their public health system, the CAJA system, which would be great if we were staying in the country, but it doesn't really help with our international travel plans.
We need health care, and we don't qualify for Medicare yet. So we needed good local health care, but we also needed the flexibility to include international coverage.
Panama just checked that box. We're actually putting together a separate episode about how we're handling health insurance while we're living and traveling overseas because that turned out to be a much bigger subject than what we expected. Panama also had some smaller things that helped us choose it, like the jubilado discounts that give pensionado visa holders discounts, like 25% off of airfare and 50% off the rack rate at hotel stays and 50% off of movies and concerts. You can learn more about all of those discounts at our Substack Postcards at our pace.
Panama also uses the US dollar. So there's no dividing by 20 or multiplying by 1.2 or any other crazy conversion math going on in my head.
And we're in the same time zone as our families during daylight savings time. So that makes calls back home easy. And the tap water is safe in the places we'll be in Panama.
The infrastructure is good. Panama City is a major city with real transportation, and they're expanding their metro lines.
And let's talk about the airport. Tocumen International Airport handles most of the international connections in Latin America, which makes it easy for us to get home if we need to.
And the taxes here work out for us. Panama generally only taxes income earned in Panama. Other countries tax your worldwide income, even your IRAs and 401ks, which makes living there a lot more expensive.
The negative to Panama is that of the 4 countries that we looked at, Panama is the hardest for Brody.
Every time we bring Brody into Panama, he has to go through a 40-day in-home quarantine. There's also a lot of paperwork and vet requirements to get him here.
So we just decided the advantages of Panama outweigh the dog restrictions. Spending 40 days in a beach condo isn't exactly a hardship, and we expect the process will get easier with our practice.
Interestingly, though, we made this entire decision without even considering the beaches.
True.
We were comparing residency rules, healthcare, airports, etc. But when we got here,
We found out that we really love the beaches, and staying on them is a lot more affordable than what we expected. If we had made our decision based upon scenery, weather, and how you feel after spending a couple of weeks someplace, we might be in Costa Rica right now.
Panama wasn't perfect and it wasn't the obvious choice.
But it was the country that asked us to just compromise the least.
We wanted the freedom to travel, affordable access to health care, a good connection back to our family, and a place where we could establish a real life without having to stay put.
And Panama gave us all of that.
And as it turned out, we got the beaches too.
Next week, we'll answer the question that we get asked more than any other, and it was my question too. Can we really afford to do this?
We'll show you our real monthly budget and expenses, what we planned for and what we got wrong, and what we didn't expect. In the meantime, watch one of these other videos.
Until next week,
Bye-bye.
bye.